So on this worksheet here, we're going to get some practice working with parallel lines L and M. Okay, we have parallel lines L and M. Here and here, they run parallel. They will never meet. They will never intersect is the point of having parallel lines. So for question number 1, we're going to jump right into answering the questions. For question number 1, it says angle B and angle C. Which rule, I'm saying these are congruent to each other, or the same to each other. And what is the rule in geometry that makes this true? Well, here's angle B, and here's angle C. Well, in relationship to each other, they're directly across from each other. And they are called vertical angles.
Hey, hold on, man.
So vertical angles are across from each other. So anytime you have any split, this angle and this angle are the same, this angle and this angle are the same. So it's the same degree measurement. Okay? So in number 2, it says there are 4 pairs of corresponding angles. We saw this in the previous assignment. Corresponding angles, remember, is the same place. So I would make a note there if you're having trouble remembering that. Corresponding angles have the same place on the parallel lines. So let's take a look at this. Well, we have line L and line M.
Is it A and E and B and F?
So we have A and E, yes, good job. So we're here because if A on line L, A is the angle on the top left, and then on line M, E is also the angle on the top left. So you have angle A and angle E. So what is another set of corresponding angles? We have angle B on the top right for line L. Then we have angle F on the top right for line M. So angle B and angle F. That's 2. So what can you think are the 2 next corresponding angles?
C and G.
C and G. So I have C goes with G because they're both on the bottom left of their line where the transversal cuts through. So angle C and angle G. And then the last one's left over, which makes sense now that we've gotten the hang of it, is angle D and angle H. You want to make sure that you have those written down. And let me scroll down so we can see the rest of this paper. If you're following along, you can find this paper link down below. Okay, let me come back up here. I'm going to have to reduce the screen just a little bit so that we can see. There we go. Okay, so you should have the answers to the previous questions. I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen and keep going. So I have read now. So we answered number 1 and we answered number 2. So on to number 3. So number 3 says, if the angle of measure C is 120 degrees, then what is the measure of angle D? And explain how you know.
120.
So take a look at where angle C is.
Is it 120?
So yes.
And it's 120 because
I'm really bad at this.
they are the same measurements. They lie in the same spot. Well, not the same spot.
Okay, yeah, because you have here angle C, and they're saying if this is 120
But they
degrees,
congruent to each other.
then angle D is going to be, what answer did you say?
120.
No.
They congruent.
Actually, they're telling us angle C is 120. So I put 120 on angle C.
120 at 180 take away 120?
Yes, so that will be that they are supplementary to get to 180. So these two together will get to 180 because remember they're supplementary. They form a straight line. So actually we're going to take a 180 and we're going to take away 120. So 180 minus 120 is 60. So angle D is 60 degrees. So I'll put here the measure of angle D equals 60 degrees. And then I'm just going to put supplementary because that explains how I know. And if you write supplementary, I know that you know too that they form a straight line. So using what you know from question 3, if angle C is 120 degrees, what is the measure of angle H? So that's what we're looking at. If angle C is what we found out was 120, then we found out that angle D was 60 degrees, then what is the measure of angle H? So the way to figure this out is to figure what is the relationship between angle D and angle H. Well, if this is in the bottom right hand of the transversal on line L, and this is also in the bottom right hand of the transversal on line M, well then that means they are corresponding angles. They're corresponding. They are in the same place, just like we saw up in number 2. Corresponding angles, and so the measure would be the exact same measure, 60 degrees. Same place, same measure. And so the last question here, number 5, a little tricky. You have to have a little bit deeper thought and understanding. So they're going to tell us if the measure of angle G was decreased by 15. So let's take a look at this. If the measure of angle G, whatever it is, was decreased by 15, which means minus 15, what would happen to the measure of angle A?
Angle A will also decrease by 15.
Exactly. So it would also decrease by 15. So how do you know that? Decrease
Because they are in the same spot, I think.
by 15. They're actually not in the same spot. What was the question here?
Was it the congruence or shit?
Angle G would be decrease, and then angle A. Hi, thank you. This is why I didn't do it. So angle G. First, let's figure out what would be the measure of angle G. Anybody know the angle? So this was 60, so this was 60. So that means this would be 120. So if I take away 15, that leaves me 105 for our question here. How does that change angle A? So now watch this. What is the congruent angle to angle G?
90.
Well, so congruent would be, think about where is angle G? It's outside the parallel lines. So G and B are going to be congruent because they're alternate exterior angles. So it's on alternate sides of the transversal. So I'll go from angle G, travel up the transversal to the outside again, jump to the alternate side. So that means this would be 105.
Shut up!
Now if that was 105, actually angle A would increase by 15 because originally it would have been 60.
What?
But because we took 15 away from here, we have to add the 15 over here. So actually we would increase by 15 on the opposite side because they're alternate exterior angles. So that's an overview of that. There's another page in the link below where you can use the information that you have seen on this video and the previous parallel lines cut by a transversal to do a challenge filling in 44 different angle measurements.